Hey everybody, this is Liz Shode, registered dietitian and director of clinical nutrition here at Jackson Purchase Medical Center. Doing another Learning with Liz lesson today, and I thought, this is the month of November. We have Thanksgiving, but actually November is National Diabetes Month. So I thought I would talk a little bit about what diabetes is, what the symptoms are, the different types of diabetes, and then maybe just talk a little bit briefly about nutrition to kind of help you out with that. So it's crazy on the statistics that there are out there about with diabetes. There are 34.2 million U.S. adults have diabetes, and 1 in 5 don't even know that they have it. It's the 7th leading cause of death in the United States. Diabetes is the #1 cause of kidney failure, lower limb amputations, and adult blindness. And in the last 20 years, it's just exploded with the number of people who have developed diabetes. So it's just kind of crazy. So what is diabetes? So this is just a very simple definition for you. It's a chronic or a long-lasting health condition that affects how our body turns food into energy. So when we eat, our body, what it does is it breaks down that food into sugar or glucose, and it's released into our bloodstream, and it goes into our body cells, and that's how we get our energy. Insulin is produced by the pancreas, and insulin's like the key that opens up with the body cells so we can use that glucose for our energy. When somebody has diabetes, that key is not working correctly. Or maybe there's not even a key. Maybe there's not even any insulin. So let's talk about the different types of diabetes and kind of give you, again, just some simple definitions of what they are. There's mainly 3 types of diabetes. We have type 1, we have type 2, and then we have gestational diabetes, diabetes when somebody's pregnant. And then there's also, it's called pre-diabetes, and we'll talk about what that is also. So type 1 is only about 5% of the people who have diabetes have type 1 diabetes. And what happens then is that the body just doesn't produce any insulin at all. The symptoms of type 1 diabetes, it comes on really, really quickly. Usually this is in children, young adults, and teens. So if a person has type 1, they will have to take insulin always because their body doesn't produce it to be able to live. So, like I said, it's only 5% of the people who have diabetes, but it's very, very serious. There is really no way to prevent type 1 diabetes happening, but there's a lot of research that's going on with type 1 that hopefully will help in the future. Type 2 diabetes is when our body produces insulin, but our body just doesn't use it like the way it should. So about 95% of the cases of people who have diabetes, it is type 2 diabetes. And this type 2 diabetes, it doesn't happen really quickly. It happens slowly over a period of time. So it happens more in adults than it does in children, but it can happen in children and young adults. But there is a way to prevent type 2 diabetes, and that's with healthy eating, healthy lifestyle changes, exercise, and just being active helps with type 2. Gestational diabetes happens when someone is pregnant, when a female is pregnant, who has never had diabetes before. It's very important that OB checks the person's blood sugar periodically, and then they even have to do this fun little test about 20 weeks with pregnant to see if their body can handle taking in higher amounts of carbohydrates or glucose, and if it goes up too high, then usually that patient has to go on a special diet to kind of help keep those glucose levels down. Because when somebody has gestational diabetes, oftentimes the baby can be a larger baby, and it can have some concern for the mom also. Pre-diabetes is a term or type of diabetes that sometimes I know I have a patient that will come and tell me, well, my doctor tells me that I am borderline diabetic. As I tell them, It's not like you're borderline pregnant. You either have diabetes or you don't have diabetes. But we have pre-diabetes, and that's when that blood sugar ranges from like 100 to 124 when somebody hasn't had anything to eat or drink. There are 88 million adults in the U.S., more than 1 out of 3 person who has pre-diabetes. And 84% of them don't even know that they have it. So it's very important if somebody has pre-diabetes that they try to eat a little bit healthier, have that a little bit more active lifestyle, and that will help to keep those blood sugars under control. So what are some of the symptoms? Some of the symptoms of diabetes are things such as increased thirst, increased urination, fatigue, blurred vision, unexplained weight loss. If a person has a lot of those things going on and they can't figure out why they're having any of those symptoms, you really need to make sure and go to your doctor and let them do some testing on you to see if you have diabetes. To diagnose someone with diabetes, they have to have 3 fasting blood sugars above 124 is the recommendation that comes from the American Diabetes Association. And then that pre-diabetes range, like I said, they may have a blood sugar between 100 and 124 is the pre-diabetes. They also may check a lab called an A1C, and that gives us the average amount of what your blood sugar has been over the last 3 months. If somebody does not have diabetes, that needs to be 6 and below. If somebody does have diabetes, kind of their goal is 7 and below with that. So what do we need to do with our food, with our nutrition? Well, we need to try to make sure we eat a breakfast, a lunch, and a supper. Maybe sometimes we might need to have a snack. We need protein, we need fats, and we need carbohydrates. A lot of people think, oh, I have diabetes, I don't need to eat any carbs. Yes, you do. Your body needs carbohydrates. So, but they don't need to be things such as like cakes and pies and cookies and things such as that. We need to have healthy carbohydrates coming from whole grain breads, whole grain cereals, rice, whole grain pastas, beans, even with our starchy vegetables are fine for us to have, but we need to have a lot of non-starchy vegetables too, such as our green beans, our broccoli, our carrots, our lettuce and tomatoes and things like such as that. So our body needs all of those things to help to regulate that blood sugar. If you happen to want more information on this, you can go to our website or go on this Facebook site and just send us a little message that says, hey, can you send me more information about diabetes? If you're going to look up information online, I kind of jotted down some of those reliable sources. Anybody can write anything out there on the internet. So you got to make sure that your information is coming from good, reliable sources, such as the American Diabetes Association, the National Institutes of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Disease, from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Please make sure that any information that you get, it comes from a good, reliable source. And as I said, also, if you have more questions about it, please just drop us a message, and we would be glad to either call you or send you some information. I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Next week is Thanksgiving, so remember we talked about holiday eating last week, about trying not to overdo with what you're eating and things such as that, but enjoy the day. So I hope everybody has a great day and try to I know it's cold outside, but try to get out there and do a little bit of walking and things like that if you can. So have a great day.